Greetings everyone, and good morning, and welcome to the Heirloom Arts Studio and our Tuesday at 10 talk, where you just never know what we're going to talk about. Sometimes I don't know what we're going to talk about. But today is the big reveal. We've been following along, or you have been following along, watching the new painting, The Agony and the Ecstasy. And then I asked for your interpretation. What did you see? And it was so wonderful. It was so fulfilling, because especially now where there isn't anyone coming into my gallery, I'm not getting the same interaction from my clients or my viewers to know what they're thinking about my art. And art is personal. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some people love something, some people don't like it. Some people see good things, it makes them think bad memories and they don't want any part of it. But it's all about what art does for you. To be honest, it's the same as a quilt. My mother is a very famous, internationally known Canadian quilter, Betty Ives, and they say you buy a quilt just because you love it, even if it's too expensive. Same with art. All right, now, before we get into this, I want to mention something, because going live is, for me, it's new technology. There's always a bug to figure out, always something you need to try to get fixed or whatever. And I didn't know that there are comments flipping up on my phone. This is all done on my cell phone. The comments are not appearing on my phone for two reasons. Simply because I prefer to reverse my phone, so I'm actually looking at myself. Aha! Sharon is watching from Canada. Yay! That's new. Okay, this is what I was going to talk about. My comments are transparent, and they're usually flipping through across my body and whatnot. And I apologize if I don't jump in there and acknowledge you right away, answer your questions if you're typing something into the comments, because quite frankly, I can't see them, most of them. I'm blind in this eye. I have cataracts. I'm 20% blind in this eye. And one of my friends said, I don't know how you're creating these paintings, and quite frankly, I don't either. Starting next Tuesday, we're going to discuss cataract surgery. I've been putting it off as long as I can, because there are going to be some sacrifices. And I'm going to just play like Scarlett and say, I shall not think about it today. I'll think about it tomorrow. Because, all right? Go away. Don't want to know about this. But I had to buy a new phone in order to go live with you all. And you cannot buy a phone at a Verizon store in person. You must stand on the sidewalk, tell them what you want, and they'll either let you in to pick it up, or they will bring it out to you, or they will tell you to come back in 3 days and pick it up on the sidewalk. You can't look at the phones. You can't touch them. Like, it was awful. And I swore up hill and down I would never buy an iPhone. I would never, as Mac computer as I am, said I would never waste that kind of money on an iPhone. But every other phone I wanted, they wouldn't sell me, or they didn't have, or whatever. I finally said, do you have this? And they said, no, come back in 3 days. Finally, a guy found one in the back room. He came out with a box, said, I have it, it's black, take it or leave it. Do you want it? Holy crap, $500. Okay, I'll take it. And he wrote it up, handed it to me, and said, next. I said, I paid you $40 to activate this phone. Are you going to activate it? He said, no, it's not our job. It's your job. Figure it out. Next. When I got home, I discovered my phone was 2.5 inches wide. It's a teeny tiny little phone about that big. So the phone is on a tripod out there, and again, I apologize because if you watch people do lives, they're going, hey, shout out to so-and-so and answering questions and whatnot. Between being blind and this teeny tiny little phone, I cannot see the comments. But if you have a comment, please write them in the comment section. After I finish filming, I do get on my computer and I do answer everyone's comments. I respond to everyone. I say hello. If I don't know you, please tell me where you are, who you are. Are you an artist? Are you just having fun? Are you hating what I'm doing? Hey, I got thick skin. Been in this business a long time. So just to establish that the comment section is very important to me in the interaction, and we'll see what happens when they slice up my eyeballs and do whatever it is they're going to do. And maybe I'll see. But comment, please. If you're watching in replay later, I know we're at an odd time, 10 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. That's because my gallery, until I close my brick and mortar gallery, I am open to the public at 11 o'clock. And it's very difficult to be doing something here when the phones are ringing and the doorbell is going off and there's clients downstairs in the gallery, because I'm the one-man show here and I have to do it all. So that's my little I know what I was going to say. If you are watching in replay, please put down the hashtag mark, the $, write hashtag replay, because Facebook loves that stuff. They actually give me more credit for you watching this video in replay and saying that you're picking it up on replay. And my ratings go higher. And you know how everyone says that you don't see your friends and you're not seeing the feed anymore and people are dropping out. The more you watch this in replay and the more you hashtag replay in the comments, the more Facebook is going to push this out and get it to you. That's my hope, that everybody that is my friend or my follower or my fan is getting to see this video. So let's talk about why you're here today. I posted a challenge. I asked you all to tell me, what did you think about my painting? What do you think it means? And I want to talk about some of the best things. This was emotional for me, because it doesn't matter what I actually intended the painting to be. It's what does it do for you? I mean, if you don't like it and you're going to make a suggestion on what I should do, I may say, well, that's not going to happen. I may not change the painting, or I may take it as advice that, my public is wondering if I should do such and such. Sometimes I do paintings because the public has asked for it. There is a painting on my website. My website is www.heirloomartstudio.com. Just click paintings. There's photo restoration, art restoration. Click paintings and portraits, and you will see an entire portfolio of what's currently available, what's currently for sale, and then you can also click the shop button and go buy something. Not everything is up on the shop button either, because again, one-man show takes a long time to get this products up there. But one of the paintings that I did do, lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, it actually has transparent spirit paintings. The paintings are called spirit paintings for a reason, because there is either something very shiny, very reflective, or transparent, including fantasy imagery, family passed on, memories of loved ones. The paintings are storytelling. And one of my clients said, you don't paint enough boys. She was right, especially since I have a daughter, and Tanya ended up in a lot of paintings. Seaside Rendezvous, where she's at the ocean and the little girl's at the ocean and all the fantasy creatures are coming out of the water. That's Tanya when she was 4 years old. I don't have to pay her to be my model, and she gets the paintings. But she said, you don't paint enough boys. So Lion, Tigers, and Bears, oh my, has 3 little boys in a tent in the dark with a flashlight, with snails. Anybody remember that poem? What are little boys made of? Made of frogs and snails and puppy dog tails. That's what little boys are made of. That's the painting. That was the inspiration for the painting and the customer desire to see little boys in paintings. She had grandchildren and she said, I'll buy something if you'll put some boys in it. So I do listen to my clients. Now this time there was a challenge to tell me what you thought this painting was going to be about. And I want to read some of these because, again, they're very emotional to me, and they told me a lot of things about what was going on. And then I'll tell you what I actually intended. The very first comment was from Deborah, all right? Debbie is my husband Greg's aunt. And she said, it's fertility because the young lady is holding an egg. You know, that hadn't even occurred to me. But my clients saw that. And that was really, really a strong response for me. It was like, interesting. My good friend Cheryl, she's a professional artist. She's an abstract artist. And one of her comments was, your art makes me feel so much emotion. That's what I want every painting to be. All right? I love landscape, love still life, love abstract, I'm an art teacher. I mean, I can explain a lot of things. But in my work, it has to tell a story. It doesn't matter if it's my story, if it's your story, if it's a memory you had, good or bad. The paintings have to tell a story and have to stir some kind of emotion. Or, to me, this is personal, there's no reason to do it. It's just me. I will paint you a landscape if you commission me to paint you a landscape. But if I were going to make a landscape, there would have to be something going on in the painting that told a story or brought out emotions, whether it was scary or calm and beautiful and a soft place to be. You know the poem, The Road Less Traveled. I've always wanted to paint that with a road splitting into a Y. But I haven't quite come to grips with what would happen to determine which direction you would take, which side of the road of the split you would go on. I'll figure it out someday. All right, so Cheryl says, I just had the feeling that this is a mother who died during childbirth, and this is the young woman. The young girl is wrapped in her baby blanket and holding a gift that the mother gave her. I'm not sure why I feel this, I just do. And that's important because it doesn't matter what I want her to see, it's what she sees in the work. There doesn't have to be an explanation. What does the art do for you? Now, Cousin Starla says, it reminds me of losing my mother and watching her take her last breath. I took my last breath. And there's Starla, you're watching. I hope you caught that. Your comment that it reminded you of your mother taking your last breath. I went, I don't want anybody to feel badly about my artwork. And I told her that. And she said, but it brings back memories. And that's what I want my work to be. They are storytelling paintings. If you go to heirloomartstudio.com, right across the top, it's going to say, bring back memories of another time. That was the original tagline or slogan in those days of the company when I only did restoration. But now that I'm doing paintings that bring back memories, that are evoking some kind of emotion, some kind of story, whether, again, it's a transparent image or it's just something shiny. There has to be something shiny, reflective, or something transparent in the painting. That's just my style. So Starla, I'm glad that, it brought, I hope it's good memories. I never met your mother. Your dad, yes, I did know your dad. Cousin Beverly, I love it. It's family, okay? It's called Facebook. It's friends and family. And Cousin Beverly, who does own some of my artwork, by the way, she said, personally, I see no sadness in the girl's face. There's sort of a smirk. It looks to me that she's holding an egg. I think she gave her mom some rotten eggs and mom just died. Oh my, that's dark. That's terrific. It's fun. I mean, it's an interpretation. It can be whatever you want to be. Sherry, one of my new friends, is also a creative. The painting makes me feel reflective. I think it represents the cycle of life from birth to death. When nearing the end of life, we look back on our life and we wish we were young again. And when we were young, we really cannot comprehend being old or death, and we feel we will be young forever. Wow. That's a really creative interpretation of the work. She also said, I'd love to know what you intend to express. Well, today you're gonna find out. All right, what else have we got here? Oh, Tina, another one of my new creative friends. She said, I also feel that it reflects the cycle of birth and death. The woman has died, and the girl sitting on the bed is the spirit of the painting. Of the woman, sorry, the spirit of the woman. The egg represents whether or not or when she will be reincarnated back into the life cycle to start over again. Wow. And interesting, that made my mind go, what if I had painted the woman in the front as a transparent spirit? Because that is my trademark work. Most of the time, there's somebody in the painting, usually a relative, a historical figure, a fantasy figure. But what if I had painted her transparent? Then the painting would take on an entirely different transformation and meaning, because now we would really be saying life to death, to reincarnation, to transformation. Great stuff. This is what I miss by not having people in the gallery. When they come in and they wander around, I always introduce myself. I tell them what they're seeing, that everything in the gallery, whether it is a product or a painting, is done by me. And I let them wander. And when they stand in front of something, I will ask them, what do you think? How's it make you feel? And I can get that interaction. So your comments are the only way I can get interaction. So this is terrific. Let's see. What's going on here? Oh, Marilyn, childhood friend from Canada. To me, the older woman is dying in agony, but she knows she will live on through her daughter, who will bear more children to continue the family line, which is symbolized by the egg. This brings the old woman to ecstasy as she dies. Marilyn, you are so close. You have no idea, and I'm going to tell you. Ecstasy. I mean, I did tell you, this is one of the first times I told you the name of the painting before you actually got to see it. I told you right from the very beginning, this was called The Agony and Ecstasy. And her interpretation was the ecstasy of dying. Very close. All right. And Cousin Pat. Now, Pat, I hope you're watching. I hope you get a chance to see this. I hope it brings a smile to your face. Pat just had shoulder surgery, just got home, just got feeling better, and fell and broke her arm and a wrist. So Pat, Greg and I are sending all our love, all our wishes to you. I hope somebody's there with you. I hope you're in good spirits and good health. I hope you get better really fast. I'm so sorry to hear that. We love you all. We love you very much. We all love you. So get better soon. And Pat says, I immediately pictured Mary and the ecstasy that she must have felt when giving birth to the one who would save the world, and the agony that she endured when her beloved son was killed. I think it's a glimpse of the love that all mothers have for their children. Wow. I hadn't even thought of that part of the religious aspect. The painting does have religious overtones, but it's so wonderful to hear this from all of you. So are we ready? We want to see? This is probably turning out blue. Certain colors will not photograph. The bane of my existence when I retouched, especially graduation gowns that would have a purple thing on there, and it was always blue. If this is blue, it's supposed to be purple. I know that this is coming out purple. Purple was the most expensive dye, and only the rich and the royal could wear purple clothing. Do you know why? It was very difficult to produce purple dye because it used fermented human urine. Dipping the cloth in a formula of urine. I'll bet it was just terrific to go down the street where all the dyers, literally dyers, lived. Purple, very, very royal, very regal. Thought that was very appropriate for today. All right, let's take a look. Dun, da, 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 da. All right, this also gives you a little better idea of the size of the painting. This collection, there will be 8 paintings in the color collection. The paintings are each based upon a color, and this is based on white. Each one of them are 24 inches tall by 27 inches wide. They are oil on canvas. And as we've discussed in other presentations, all the paintings are painted in black and white first, with a value scale. Everything is blocked in. And then the paint is chosen for its chemical makeup, and it's layered and layered and layered with hundreds of layers of transparent glaze. I can build up the shadows, and then at the very end, I can go back in and work on the details. Now, this is the agony and the ecstasy. Part of the painting is real in terms of our beautiful statue here. This is a Bernini statue. Bernini, for those that are Da Vinci Code fans, was the architect and sculptor of many of the sculptures that are in that book, in that movie. They run around town, jumping from one statue to the other with symbolic meaning. He was the guy in the early 1600s. St. Peter's Cathedral, St. Peter's Basilica, sorry, you've got to use the right term, was created by him, parts and pieces of it. Now, our statue comes from life, all right? This is a real person. This young lady, our beautiful, beautiful woman here, her name was Lodovica Albertini. She was a very rich Roman noblewoman. Alas, her husband passed away. Now, ladies, we all know what happens to us in history when we don't have a man taking care of us. Our brothers, our cousins, and our uncles swoop in and take everything we've got. And if you aren't lucky enough to be their indentured servant for the rest of your life and they take you in, you have nowhere else to go but to a nunnery. And in Lodovica's case, she entered the Order of St. Francis, the Franciscan monks. And there she lived out the rest of her life with whatever money she had and whatever gifts and services she could provide to the poor. She walked the streets. She helped the poor. Later on, I gotta find it here. Okay, years and years later, one of her descendants had a nephew who married the niece of Pope Clement X. And he said, my descendant was so important. She did such important work for the poor. You need to do something, Pope. And he beatified her. That is a term that means we now may call her the Blessed Lodovica. She was not canonized, not turned into a saint, but she was beatified. She was so honored and respected for her work with the poor and her total dedication to selfless service, that her ancestors said, now we need to do something about her burial. So she was transported to a chapel in a church in Rome, and Bernini was hired to produce this magnificent marble sculpture as a funerary monument. Now we have her chapel. I'm going to try and get this without the lights. There we go. Everything is backwards, so give me a moment here. There we go. All right. A chapel, a special alcove was created for the marble statue. Got to go left. There we go. All right. All of this fabric underneath is carved marble. She lies in repose. Her body is buried under the crypt in the bottom. And this was to represent the exact moment of ecstasy when she met God. Remember those comments? Boy, some of you got really close. And I do have my lights on here, so I'm getting a little glare. The chapel has magnificent portraits on both sides. All the putti, the little sculptures of the little cherubs. These are three-dimensional marble sculptures, and another painting in the back. Now that was the beginning of the painting. That was my inspiration. I've not had the pleasure to see this in person because I've never been to Rome. My travel to Italy was in the northern region. And as a matter of fact, when I was in Milan, the Michelangelo's Last Supper was closed. The chapel, the painting was being restored, and the chapel, I was 2 blocks from the bloody thing and couldn't get in to see it. Oh well. So I have not seen this, but the story and this magnificent sculpture has entranced me for a long time. And the painting is about white. Now, it appears white here. In most of the research photographs, it doesn't. We know that marble is white. It comes out of the ground that way. But depending upon how you photograph it, if you're using just your ordinary camera and it's coming out yellow or orange or whatever lighting happens to be there, or it's coming out purples or fleshes, it changes. White isn't white. Take a look at our painting. Everything in the painting is based on white. A white dress, a white sheer drapery curtain. I did change this to drapery. I didn't want to reproduce the carving. And our white marble. There's no white in the painting. The closest thing you are going to find to white are the key highlights, the brightest parts of the highlights. Look at this up in her face, this ecstasy, this magnificence. And marble has its own life to it. When you see a marble statue, a sculpture in person, it lives, it breathes. It's warm, it's cool, it depends on the lighting, it depends on the shadows. But when you paint white, how do you paint white? I can't pick up a paintbrush and a gallon of white paint and create something. So, we know about the ecstasy. How do we get agony out of this? Well, art students, Art 101. Doesn't matter whether it's high school or college. Art 101, sooner or later, the professor is going to walk in with his light, maybe a curtain rod or a rope, some clamps, some chairs, and a sheet under his arm, a white sheet. And he's going to hang that bloody sheet up. He's going to put some lights on it. And he's going to look at you and he's going to say, there you go, kids. Paint it. Draw it. And I want to see all the grays, all the values, all the highlights, all the shadows. Just like that. Ugh. It's boring. And you spend hours and hours and hours. Now, I was only 17 when I did this, when I went to Arizona State from Canada. But guess what? It's a sheet, and it was agony. And every art student, sooner or later, is going to do this. When I give this assignment to my class, I refuse to use a sheet. I will get really creative. It's not uncommon to see me take a popcorn kernel, put it down in front of the students and say, there you go, draw that. And they have to start looking for the highlights and the shadows. It's boring. It's agony. And I don't know, makes a good teaching tool, but it's not great art, so you spend all that time creating a sheet. Yay. Now, next comes the white assignment. Sooner or later, the professor's going to walk in with a white coffee mug and an egg and a sheet and put them all together and say, okay, gang, this is your chance to show me how you paint white. Now, doesn't matter if you're using oil pastel. Somehow or another, you got to get that white teapot in there. And that's supposed to be a white sheet. Now let's see, 1975, this is high school. This is grade 13. In Ontario, Canada, at that time, we had 5 years of high school. If you were going to university, you could only go to university if you had grade 13. You could go to college if you had grade 12. Colleges were mostly 2 to 3 year trade schools. If you wanted to be a draftsman, an early education teacher, or a dental assistant, you went to college because you could get in and out rather quickly. If you wanted to be an architect, a teacher, or a, what was their other thing? Or a nurse, you had to go to university. And to get there, you had to have grade 13. Now, I was only 16 in grade 13. I turned 17, I loaded up my car and I split and I went to Arizona State. How my mother let me do that, I don't know, but I thought I was all grown up and ready for it. All right, so here we have the dreaded white assignment. Now, here was another one with oil paint. This was my first experiment with oils. It was a black, I hope you can see that. On my screen, it's chopping off the bottom. I just realized, I hope you can see the bottom of the painting. A black, I'm trying to think, all I can think of is cowboys sitting around with a iron coffee pot. All right, a silver teapot, a white sheet, and a white background. And as you can see, now this was first year of university, and as you can see already, I'm starting to see colors. I never took drugs, ever. Don't hallucinate, but boy, even from the very beginning, I saw color and everything popped. So, and this was the very first oil painting I'd ever done. We were cheap students and we were told to paint on cardboard. So man, we went to every grocery store and we wrestled every painting because the professor would give us like 3 or 4 painting assignments a week. And you had like one day to pop this sucker out. And so we painted on cardboard. Not terribly archival, but all right. Post-university and graduate school. Here's another one. The white mannequin. The white gathered sheets, the white background, a trunk, a steamer trunk, and professor put it up and said, go to town, kids, paint. And this is an interpretation of my interpretation of how to do a white painting. This is a technique for any of you that are artists. This is a technique where it's thick and it's rough. You actually use a palette knife and you put colors opposite on the color wheel and opposite values as to what you want. If this is to be a highlight, then I would take acrylic paint, a dark color, and I would put that on there in the direction of which the folds and the figure moves, and I would palette knife the opposite of the painting. Then when you take oil paint and skim across the surface, you get all these beautiful, luscious, incredible textures. If I bring this up here closer, you can see what's happening where the oil paint is just skimming the surface. If this is supposed to be light, it has a dark underlay on it. This is a class that I teach. It's just a funky technique. Some people love it, some people don't. But I thought, when I first took this class, I thought, geez, dude, like, I haven't got enough time to paint one painting and you want me to paint 2? I got to put an acrylic painting on here first and then turn around and paint oils on top of it. Whew. But it's really cool and I love it. I just don't have a lot of time to do a lot of those paintings. So that is the agony. Now, in an upcoming talk, I'm going to talk about the entire collection. You can go online and see red and yellow. This is the 3rd painting that I've been able to do in the series. There will be 8 paintings when I'm finished. The 6 colors of the color wheel: red, yellow, blue, orange, green, and purple, and black and white. Black is very interesting because it is not going to be intended to be my homage to Black Lives Matter, but it might be interpreted that way, and it might sell as such. It's simply going to be a painting about the color black. So this is our work. That is my interpretation. I simply wanted to paint something white. Now, I do have slight religious overtones in that our beautiful model here is slightly reminiscent of the Virgin Mary. She has been for many, many years in history been represented with red hair. We have the French blue that she always wore in her robes or her coverings. I touch on it a little bit. But beyond that, it was a white sculpture that I loved with fabric everywhere. When you see the painting, for real, all of this is eyelet fabric. There are holes. This took longer to paint than the whole bloody thing. It's simply a study in agony and ecstasy of an art student. Everything that I do, if you want to buy this, definitely contact me. If you want to commission a painting, I do commission work. I have several spirit paintings on the go right now. Most of them are in digital. I do paint on the computer in original paintings. It's just a little bit expensive than an oil. But all of the paintings are for sale. Everything you see on the website is for sale. And everything is available in print. 20 by 24, 16, but this is 16 by 20. This is 11 by 14. And the prints are sold with, if I can get it here without the shine, all right, they are sold with what appears to be double matting. But it's printed matting. And the reason I do this is because all of the paintings are such unique sizes that if I were to print an 11 by 14 of this, I would have to chop off the print. Or I would print it and I would have a bin of 1,000 different sizes in my print bin. So I want the availability to go to standard sizes. So I print a 3-dimensional mat on here. And if you don't like the color of the mat, you simply buy another one. Go to a custom framer, have them cut a mat on here of a color. Maybe you want this in pinks, maybe soft mauves, maybe pale blues, maybe a little greens. That's up to you. I used to cut mats. I used to put everything in bins, and customers would come in and go, I don't like this color. Can you get me another mat? Can you take that one apart and give me that one? And I don't have time to cut mats. So the prints come this way. Everything is chosen according to what I think looks good with the work. And again, if you don't like the mat, you simply buy another one. So I hope you're not disappointed as to my interpretation and my intent with the painting. I love everything that everyone said about the work. It's all about emotion and feeling and what art does for you. It's not even about what it does for me, because if I put it out for one reason and you interpret it for something else, that means you are either going to buy it and love it, or hate it, or admire it, or see something in it, or get something from it. That's what art should do. Art should, even if it's decor, if you look on these home shows, HGTV, these decorator shows, almost all the artwork on the walls are simply about color and texture. They're not going to put something like this on the wall and then decorate a white room around it, because this is a little too personal for decor. As far as I've gone, I haven't had any interior designers lined up to want to get my work. Maybe in the future, we'll see. But that's our little talk for today. Again, I hope you're not disappointed in the simplicity of the agony and the ecstasy. I hope you like the work and appreciate it, and I hope you're having a great time with our little talks. There is something coming up soon. Again, we're going to deal with this eye surgery thing, which is pretty much going to blind me for about 6 to 8 weeks. But we are working on something. We are working on some live events where you are actually going to be able to buy some of the merchandise that I create here, and some very special things that I'm going to liquidate out of the studio that you could only get if you were here in the building. So that's it for now. Like I said, if you're catching us on replay, just put that $ hashtag right replay beside it, and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.